Welcome to the Income Craze Podcast, the ultimate resource for discovering innovative ways to generate passive income and grow your wealth. This is episode 2, 13 Financial Instruments for Building Passive Income and Extreme Wealth. Enjoy.
Ever catch yourself daydreaming about money working harder than you do? Well, that's the whole idea behind passive income. And today we're really diving deep into how to make that dream a reality.
So it sounds like a plan.
We're breaking down J.R. Gutierrez's article, 13 Financial Instruments for Building Passive Income and Extreme Wealth. We want to make sure you walk away with, actionable knowledge.
It's a big goal, for sure, but the exciting thing is Gutierrez lays out a plan for everyone. It doesn't matter if you're just starting out or you've, been at this for a while and want to change things up. There's something in there for you.
And that's what I love about this deep dive. It's all about giving you the info you need to make smart choices about your money, right? So Gutierrez kicks things off with, the basics, the low-risk stuff that's perfect for kind of dipping your toes into the passive income pool, high-yield savings accounts, and CDs.
Those are great places to start, especially if you're new to this whole investing thing or just someone who likes to play it safe. With high-yield savings accounts, you're basically taking advantage of a higher interest rate compared to, those regular savings accounts.
Yeah, okay. Those gains might not seem huge at first.
Right, but let's say, just as an example, you put in $5,000 and then every month you add another $100. Do that for 10 years with, say, a 4% interest rate that compounds each year. You're looking at over $20,000.
See, that example really drives it home, right? It's not just about that initial deposit, it's the snowball effect.
Yeah.
Okay, now with CDs, you're committing a chunk of money for a set period, but you usually lock in a better interest rate.
Exactly. And to get the most out of those returns while still having some wiggle room, Gutierrez talks about this strategy called laddering your CDs.
Laddering. CDs. Okay, I'm intrigued. What's the advantage there?
It's all about timing. Picture this. You open several CDs with different maturity dates. One for 1 year, one for 3, one for 5. You get the idea.
Okay, so you spread them out.
This lets you jump on those higher interest rates that usually come with longer-term CDs. But as each CD matures, you can decide, hey, do I reinvest this or do I need access to this cash now?
So it's like this balancing act. Higher returns on one hand, access to your money at different times on the other. Clever, especially if you're thinking long-term. Okay, time to face the music, or maybe the taxes. Gutierrez highlights these two options with some serious tax advantages: municipal bonds and HSAs.
Can't escape them. But yeah, paying less in taxes is huge when it comes to growing your wealth. Municipal bonds are basically like you're loaning money to local governments.
Right, so like cities and states.
And the interest payments you get. Usually no federal taxes, sometimes even no state and local taxes.
So you're not only earning passive income, but also helping your community. 2 birds, 1 stone.
Exactly. Okay, now HSAs, or health savings accounts, they're meant for healthcare costs, but those tax breaks make them super powerful, both for saving now and growing your money long term.
Triple tax advantage. Okay, tell me more about how that benefits someone saving for retirement.
All right, so first, the money you put into an HSA, tax deductible. That means you lower your taxable income right now. Second, any growth within the HSA, like interest or investment returns, completely tax-free. And third, when you use that money for, doctor's visits, prescriptions, anything healthcare related, those withdrawals, also tax-free.
Wow. It makes you realize, right, how important it is to understand these tools, really use them to your advantage. But for those listeners who are ready to see what's beyond savings accounts and bonds, Gutierrez brings in the stock market as a way to build passive income and see some real long-term growth.
Right on. And he hones in on 3 big ones: ETFs, index funds, and dividend-paying stocks. These offer ways to ride those market waves while potentially getting some regular income coming in.
Okay, let's break those down a bit, starting with ETFs. What are we talking about there?
So ETFs, or exchange-traded funds, are kind of like index funds. They track a specific market index like the S&P 500 or a certain sector. But unlike mutual funds, you can trade them on an exchange, just like regular stocks.
Got it. So with ETFs, I could spread my investment across different assets all at once. Definitely less intimidating than trying to pick individual stocks.
Exactly. And that's spreading out, that's diversification, which can help lower your risk. A lot of ETFs are built around these dividend-paying companies, too, so you get that steady income stream.
Speaking of which, dividend-paying stocks always get me. It's like getting a bonus just for being invested right.
I like that way of looking at it. So when you invest in dividend-paying stocks, you basically become a part owner of those companies, and you share in their profits through those dividend payouts. Think dividend aristocrats.
Okay, like royalty.
Kind of. They're these companies with a long history of not only paying dividends, but they keep increasing them year after year. It usually shows they're stable, committed to those who invested in them.
It's like those companies saying, hey, we're doing well. We want you to be a part of it. Reassuring, for sure. All right, let's move on to something everyone wants to be good at, but can be a pain. Real estate. How does Gutierrez tackle this?
He brings in REITs.
REIPs.
Yeah, real estate investment trusts, they're a way to get into real estate without the headaches of actually owning property.
So I could, like, invest in those big apartment buildings or even malls without being a landlord. That's pretty appealing.
Exactly. You get those potential benefits of real estate, like prices going up and rental income, but without having to fix leaky faucets at 2 a.m. And the great part about REITs for passive income, they legally have to distribute at least 90% of their taxable income to shareholders as dividends.
Right. Now, that's a deal. Okay, we've covered a lot in this first part. Those basic high-yield savings accounts and CDs, the potential of the stock market with ETFs, index funds, dividend-paying stocks, even dipped our toes into REITs. That's a lot to take in. What's, like, grabbing your attention so far? What stands out as something you might want to learn more about?
It really is. It's like, you've got all these different tools and they can work together. You get different levels of risk, different potential returns. And that's what I like about how Gutierrez approaches it. He's not just throwing out random ideas. He's giving you, the listener, this whole toolkit to build your own passive income strategy, something that works for you.
Exactly. And speaking of building a strategy, you got to start thinking about the future, right? Gutierrez, he really dives into that word everyone loves to hate, retirement. He's a big fan of maximizing those retirement accounts like 401ks and IRAs.
Yeah, those are those financial terms we hear all the time, but like really getting what they are, how they work, especially those tax advantages, super important for building wealth over the long haul. Let's start with the 401k. That's where, you work, you contribute some of your income before taxes.
So that pre-tax part, that's key, right? You're lowering your taxable income now, saving for later.
Exactly. And here's the kicker. A lot of employers will match your contribution up to a certain point, of course. Like, say your employer matches 50% of what you put in, up to 6% of your salary. You put in 6%, boom, they add another 3%. That's free money.
Now, that's a perk you can't ignore. And then there's IRAs, individual retirement accounts. Those are the ones you set up yourself, right?
I got it. Similar tax advantages, all geared towards saving for retirement. Traditional IRAs, your investments grow tax deferred. That means you don't pay taxes on those earnings until you take them out in retirement. And then there are Roth IRAs. You contribute after taxes, but those qualified withdrawals in retirement, completely tax-free.
So it's like, do you take the tax break now with a traditional IRA or set yourself up for tax-free income later with the Roth? Decisions. Gutierrez also brings up annuities as a way to get that steady stream of income during retirement.
Sounds like, I don't know, creating your own little pension plan.
You're not wrong. With an annuity, you're basically giving a lump sum or maybe a series of payments to an insurance company. They promise you a fixed income stream, either for a certain time period or, like you said, for the rest of your life. It's about knowing what's coming in and not, outliving your savings. That peace of mind, knowing there's always going to be some money coming in, definitely appealing, especially as you get older. But I gotta ask, are there any downsides to annuities? Seems almost too good to be true.
You're right to be cautious. Annuities can be kind of tricky. They come with all these different terms, fees, payout structures. You really got to read the fine print, maybe even talk to a financial advisor, make sure it makes sense for you, your goals, your risk tolerance.
So it's all about using the right tool at the right time.
Yeah.
And sometimes that means getting someone else to help you navigate. Okay, for those who are comfortable with, a bit more risk, looking for those potentially bigger wins, Gutierrez dives into alternative investments. We're talking venture capital, peer-to-peer lending, even cryptocurrency.
Now we're getting into the more adventurous side of things. Venture capital, that's investing in those early stage companies, the ones with the potential to really explode.
So you're like on the ground floor, maybe backing the next big tech giant, high risk, high reward. What about peer-to-peer lending? Always found that one intriguing.
It's a cool model. It connects borrowers directly with lenders. No more big banks in the middle. You get to pick and choose which loans to fund, and you make money from the interest payments.
It's like you become the bank, but potentially with better returns. I like that control. You get to decide where your money's going.
It can be empowering, but like any lending, got to be smart about it. There's risk. Important to spread your money across multiple borrowers, do your research, make sure those borrowers are good for it.
Risk management, always key. Okay, can't avoid this one cryptocurrency. It's been hard to ignore, right? All the hype, the potential for massive gains, and, massive losses.
Crypto's definitely shaking things up. It's a whole new asset class, brings its own opportunities and challenges for sure. Yeah, it's volatile, but you can earn passive income with cryptocurrency too.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I always thought you had to be, like, glued to the charts, buying and selling constantly to make any money there.
Not necessarily. There's staking and yield farming. Basically, you lock up your crypto for a bit, it supports the blockchain network, and you get rewarded for it.
So you're leveraging those digital assets to potentially get more digital assets.
I see. Sounds like another complex world. Probably needs a lot of research before jumping in.
100%. Cryptocurrency is still young, still evolving. Got to understand the tech behind it, the risks, and have a solid plan. Definitely not for the casual investor, but hey, that's where some of the biggest innovations happen, for sure. Okay, we covered a lot, again, in this part. Those must-have retirement accounts, the ins and outs of annuities, the exciting world of alternative investments. What are you thinking after all that? What stood out to you?
It's pretty wild, right? You can play it safe, go for those tax advantages with retirement accounts, or jump into the deep end with, alternative investments, shoot for the moon. It all comes down to what you're comfortable with, what you're aiming for.
I like that. Different strokes for different folks.
Yeah.
And speaking of finding what works for you, Gutierrez, he brings up this tool that's really changing the game, especially for people who, they want to set it and forget it. Robo-advisors.
They sound like something out of a sci-fi movie, but robo-advisors are getting really popular. And for good reason. Imagine a financial advisor in your pocket, 24/7, no crazy fees, no confusing lingo.
Okay, you've got my attention. Break it down. How do these robo-advisors actually work?
So it's all digital, right? Platforms that use algorithms to build and manage your investments. You answer some questions about what you're aiming for, how much risk you're cool with, and the robo-advisor, it takes it from there. Invests your money automatically, spreads it out across these low-cost index funds or ETFs.
So no more spending hours staring at charts, trying to pick the winners. No more panicking when the market takes a dip.
Exactly. And because they're all tech-driven, those fees are usually way lower than traditional financial advisors, which makes them, accessible to more people, especially those just starting out or who want that hands-off approach.
So it's like having your own personal finance guru working behind the scenes, making sure you're on track, optimizing everything. Plus, they can automatically adjust your portfolio, keep things balanced.
You got it. That's the beauty of it. It takes the emotion out of investing, which can be, let's face it, a roller coaster sometimes.
Couldn't agree more. So as we wrap up this deep dive into passive income, all these different financial instruments, what's the key takeaway? What should our listeners remember?
Remember, building wealth, generating passive income, it's a marathon, not a sprint. Take your time, learn about these different tools, figure out where you stand financially, what you want, and how much risk you can stomach. Then build that plan that works for you.
Love that. And hey, remember that thought-provoking question from the beginning. Gutierrez, he gave us 13 great instruments to work with, but he also made it clear. That's just the start. There are tons of ways to create passive income outside of these traditional routes.
Exactly. What about creating an online course? Sharing your skills with the world? Renting out that spare room? Starting a blog, a podcast, and monetizing it. It's all about getting creative, doing your research.
It is. It's about taking control of your money, your future, having the freedom to pursue your passions, spend time with loved ones, and just enjoy that financial security.
Couldn't have said it better myself. It's about more than just the money. It's about what that money gives you.